Hey guys, thanks for joining me. Before we get started, I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me okay. So if you can hear me okay, somebody just type in chat and let me know, and then we'll get started. Okay, thanks. Great. So my name is Keith, and I am the lead meditation teacher for Meditation Breaks. And we're a company that does in-person guided meditations for offices and schools and home study. Really, the idea is that we'll come to you. That way you don't have to seek out meditation. You don't have to go to a studio or something like that. We'll fit it into your schedule. But given the state of things right now, we've had to, like a lot of people, transition to an online format. So this is my first live stream meditation that we've done. So thanks for being here. And we're going to try to do these every Wednesday unless something comes up. But hopefully you'll find this helpful and we'll be able to keep doing this. So today's session is going to be like an introduction to meditation overall. We're going to talk about why meditation is important, why it works, and how to do it. And then we're going to do a breathing meditation, very simple. So really, like, the format is going to be, I'm going to talk, and then we're going to meditate, and then I'm going to talk a little more, and then we're going to do another little meditation if we can fit it in. And then I'll take some questions at the end if you have any. So if you do have any questions, feel free to type them now, and I'll get to them whenever I'm able to. Okay. So it's actually, this is like really interesting because meditation has become really popular in recent years. Like, it's been around forever. It's a very ancient method of calming yourself and thinking and being aware. But there's been like a huge push with, mindfulness in schools. There's a million meditation apps out on the various app stores. It's really accessible. And this is really good. This is really amazing because meditation and mindfulness and training our mind, which is really what this is all about, is a key component for our universal shared quest that we're all on to be happy. It's pretty much what drives us. Everything behind everything that we do, there's like a wish to be happy, to be happier. And our mind plays a really large part in that. It's interesting, right? Because we are kind of really aware of the benefits of taking care of our bodies. Like, look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I, run 45 minutes every day, but I recognize the importance of taking care of my body. I think we all do, regardless of where on the spectrum of like athlete or whatever, exercise, eating right. We kind of understand that these are important things. And the reason that they are important ultimately, if we think about it, is they help ensure that we'll have a long life, right? It's not a guarantee, unfortunately. It's kind of one of the big uncertainties about life is our life expectancy, but taking care of our body can help deter certain things that might impact that negatively. But for all the onus that we put on taking care of our bodies, we don't really place the same importance on taking care of our mind. And I think part of that is we just don't really understand as easily like what part our mind is playing in our daily life in terms of our happiness or our health. But it's arguably more important because if taking care of our body is something that helps um, make our life long, taking care of our mind helps us enjoy that long life, right? So it's really important to start to realize the crucial aspects that the mind plays on our life, and that is what really ultimately meditation and mindfulness and all those techniques of training the mind are about. You know, normally we kind of don't. Normally we feel like our happiness comes from doing things like reading a book or skiing or being with our friends and this and that, like whatever it is for you. We feel that we're happy when we're doing those things, when those things are happening. But for all those instances, regardless of which is yours, there are times when we are doing them and we're very happy, and there are times that we're doing them and we're not happy, we're miserable, we're angry. It's the same activity, right? Like we'll be with our friends and we're just having a really good time, and there's other times where we're with the exact same friends, maybe at the exact same place, and we're not happy, we're upset. And so there's something else at play besides the activity. There's something else that our happiness is dependent on, and that is our mood or our mind, right? Our mind is what's dictating our mood, really. So this is just it's a really cool thing to keep in mind. And it's really important. And it's actually really good news because we can't control all the things outside. We're getting a big dose of that right now with the coronavirus. We can't control all this, but we can control our mind. So the fact that our mind is playing such a huge role in our happiness is really good for us because it means we have a choice. We have the capability to be happy regardless of our external circumstances. And they definitely will influence us, but ultimately we have the capability to be happy independent of them. So far, so good. So normally our mind is like not super peaceful. If we like really think about it, normally our mind is really distracted. It's really busy. It's kind of chaotic. Like we're anxious, upset, jealous, worried, all these things. They're constantly being pushed and pulled throughout our mind. And it seems like we don't really have a lot of control over them. Like maybe we're at work and we're working on something, and then we remember something our boss said to us that we didn't particularly like, and now we're festering on that, and we're wondering if they're going to get mad at us again, and then we're worried that we're not going to hand in our project on time, and then they're definitely going to get mad at us again, and maybe I'm not even in the right career, and why I don't even like working here. Like all these things are popping in and out of our mind all day, and we don't even really notice them half the time. It's almost as if our mind doesn't really care what we want to do. It's going to do what it wants to do, and we better come along for the ride. And when we're, if that sounds exhausting, it's because it is, right? Like sometimes we come home from work or wherever, and we're like, I'm done, And a lot of that is because our mind is being bombarded all day with uncontrolled thoughts. And it makes things very difficult. It makes our stress levels rise. A lot of it because, like, ultimately we feel like we can't control it, and we get nervous about things that we can't control. Like, for example, imagine that you've gone on a hike, and now you're at a beautiful lake. It's very pretty, and you're staring at the reflection in the lake, and it's very clear and it's very serene. And now it starts to downpour, starts to rain. And if I were to ask you then, describe to me the reflection. Like, what are you seeing in reflection? Like, and I mean, aside from you probably being annoyed that I'm asking you to do that in the rain, you would probably say something like, oh, well, okay, I think it's like a mountainscape. I can kind of see some of the peaks and stuff like that, but like the raindrops are making it a little hard to see. And then it starts to just really downpour, like Florida 4 o'clock, just like a monsoon. And then I was like, okay, describe to me now. And you'd be like, I can't really tell. It's not clear what the reflection is. This is our mind. Okay, the raindrops are our distracted thoughts, our like uncontrolled thoughts, our anxiety, our loneliness, all these things, even, anything. Like, they're all raindrops, and they're making it hard for us to think clearly, to see clearly, to analyze things clearly. We can't see the reflection in the lake. So the first step of meditation is to become good at getting rid of some of those raindrops, right? And we don't have to get rid of all of them. There's a temptation to want it to be the complete serene lake, and we'll get there. But even if you were to remove some of the raindrops, you would be able to see the reflection more clearly, right? So maybe this time you can only remove 5% of the distracting thoughts. Right? Maybe next time it'll be 10. But each time you become more proficient at removing those raindrops, we can see the reflection more clearly. We can see the things that are bothering us more clearly. And a result of that is our mind becomes more peaceful. Things just seem easier for us to handle, which is, I think a huge reason of why people get into meditation. It was why I got into it, to help with anxiety and things like that. So, like I said, when we're starting, our first step is to clear away some of these distracted thoughts, to clear away some of these raindrops that are obscuring our like naturally peaceful mind state. And we do this with a method called single-pointed concentration, which is a really fancy way of saying focusing on one thing. It sounds way cooler, so we'll continue to use single-pointed concentration. We're basically going to focus on something so exclusively that all the other thoughts are going to kind of melt away, right? And we've experienced this, something similar to this before. Like, have you ever been working on something and you're like in the zone, right? To use a super cliche phrase. Like, you're totally plugged in, and what happens? You lose track of time, right? Time goes fast or slow. Can't really keep track of it. Maybe if you're in like an open office setting that's got some noise, a lot of noise, you're like not hearing those noises anymore when you're like super plugged in, right? So what happens is the distractions don't seem so distracting anymore, because our mind can't really focus on both of them at the same time. We like to think that we can. We're like great multitaskers, but like we're not splitting our mind. Our mind is just jumping from things. So if we're able to focus it in on one thing, there's no room for the other thoughts. All right. So we're going to, the object of single-pointed concentration that we're going to use is our breath. It's a very common thing to use. There's probably a number of you here who have done a breathing meditation before. The reason we use a breathing meditation, the reason we focus on our breath to relax our mind, is really twofold. One, it's neutral. So it doesn't, we're not like getting like super jazzed about our breath, or we're not like super bummed out about it. It's just like there, okay? Which is important. We're actually all really good meditators already, which is like, I guess, good news. But we're only really good at meditating on bad things. So like, you've had the experience if somebody says something to you that you don't like, and like all of a sudden you're thinking about this all day, sometimes more than sometimes years, you're like just totally focused on this thing. You're sort of like meditating on your anger, but not in a productive way, right? So when we're training, we want to pick something neutral. Later, when we get a little more experience, we can start to like intentionally bring to mind things that are really painful to us, to try to analyze them. But right now, we want to focus on using our breath because it's neutral. And the other reason is that it's very easy to identify. It's with us all the time. Hopefully, like if you're not be able to find your breath right now, like, you should go see a doctor, because it's super easy to identify our breathing. It's always there with us, and that is a huge thing to take away today from this session. Like, look behind me. Like, I'm not in a Zen garden, okay? I'm not in the serene lake scenario. I don't have totally tranquil setup. None of us really do. And the beauty of meditation is that we don't need those things. We don't need to be in the Zen garden to meditate and meditate well. If you really don't take anything else away from today, know that whatever your scenario right now, whatever your financial situation or mental health situation, anything, you have the ability to meditate, and you have the ability to meditate right now, and you have the ability to be happy right now, which is really, I think, it's one of the more empowering parts of meditation, is that we don't need special circumstances to see the benefits of that. We're ready to see the benefits of it. So we're going to do a breathing meditation now, and I'm going to guide us through it. And ultimately, the goal here is, to the best of our ability, we're going to focus on our breathing, the sensations of our breathing, very natural breathing. Sometimes in yoga, they have you do like huge in-breath and like forceful exhale, and that's very, it can be very therapeutic. But again, we're trying to train our mind to realize that we can do this normally, that we don't need special circumstances. So we're going to just breathe normally, like we normally do. And we'll focus on that and what that feels like. And eventually your mind is going to drift off. It might drift off really quickly, which is fine. And when you notice that, we're just going to gently guide it back to focusing on our breath and how it feels. And this process of focusing on our breathing and bringing our attention back to our breath when we notice that it's gone is meditation. That is the practice of meditation. And something really interesting happens when we do this. We start to notice that we're more relaxed. We're feeling a little more peaceful. Maybe it's just a little bit, just a little bit. But we can take that little bit and we can turn it into a lot of it. This is really like, that's one of the huge, amazing parts of meditation, is this is in us. And we don't need anything special to start to see these benefits. We can start to see the benefits of meditation immediately, by doing something as simple as focusing on our breathing, right? So after we do the breathing meditation, I'm going to talk a little bit more, because while focusing on our breath is an extremely important way to relax, and it's really a prerequisite for, pretty much all forms of meditating, it's not the full potential of what meditation can offer. The meditation's full potential is something far more incredible than just kind of chilling out. But we got to get good at that first, to make use of the other part. So I'll talk a little bit more about that afterwards. But right now, let's do a quick breathing meditation. So part of this is going to be we're going to close our eyes. So like if you think that looks weird, then I know your eyes aren't closed. So everyone's going to do it together. So maybe it's like a little awkward at first, but like just don't worry about it. Close your eyes. All right. So wherever you are, if you're sitting in a chair, if you're laying in bed, if you're on a meditation cushion, I don't know, wherever you are is cool. You don't have to go anywhere special. We're just going to sit in like a relaxed, comfortable position, but try not to do something that's going to make you fall asleep. It's nice to relax, but like we're trying to do something active right now. We're actively training our mind. So we don't want to fall asleep, really. So sit in a relaxed, comfortable position. Your feet flat on the floor if you're in a chair, legs crossed, if you're sitting on the floor, or, just out in front of you if you're laying down. And let your hands fall into your lap or to your side, however is most comfortable. The goal is to be comfortable. And we can gently close our eyes. And we can take a moment to take inventory of ourself, to check in with ourself and see how we're doing. How does our feet feel on the floor? Are our shoulders tense? Are we feeling upset, anxious, nervous, happy? Just take a moment to think about how you're doing right now. Being able to check in with yourself is really important. That's what mindfulness is all about. Being aware of your own mind. And having checked in with ourselves, we can first imagine that our mind is like a vast open sky. Gorgeous, blue, boundless sky. Just take a moment to imagine that. Bring that boundless blue sky to your mind. And in our sky-like mind, there will inevitably be some clouds. Normally, when we have these thought clouds in our mind, we focus on them. But we don't need to do that. We can continue to focus on the sky and just let the clouds pass through. We can continue to focus on the boundless clarity of our mind and let our thoughts pass by. Most of our thoughts, most of these clouds, these thought clouds, they are based in the past or in the future. Very often our thoughts, our distractions, they're coming from something that had happened previously. Maybe something somebody said that upset you, a regret that you have. All of these things, they are gone. They do not exist anymore. Yesterday is gone. And so we do not have to relive them. We do not have to bring that pain back. We can choose to let those thought clouds pass by. We can watch them melt away. The other half of our distractions and thoughts come from worries about the future. Right? Maybe we have an event coming up that we're nervous about, we want to get to on time, a project that's due. All of these things, they haven't happened yet. They do not exist outside of our mind. And so we don't have to focus on them either. We can choose to let those thoughts pass through. We can watch them melt away. And what we're left with our thoughts of the past and the future gone, is the present. We are left with reality. The present moment, right now, this moment, which turns into this moment, which turns into this moment. Take a second to just enjoy the present moment. Enjoy the fact that you're sitting here, relaxing, learning something new. You have nowhere else to be, nothing else to do. And with our mind, our attention in the present moment, we can focus on our breath. How our breath feels moment to moment. We can breathe gently in through our nostrils and gently out through our nostrils. We notice how our breathing feels. The cool air as we breathe in, and the warm air as we breathe out. See if you can keep your attention on your breath for the full inhalation and the full exhalation. Eventually, you may notice that your attention has drifted from your breathing to something else. Some other thought has popped into your head and you're focusing on that now. If that happens, that's totally fine. Just gently guide your attention back to your breath. Sort of like you're a car, skillfully changing lanes. Skillfully bring your attention back to your breathing, to enjoying your full breath in and enjoying your full breath out. Keep checking in. If your mind has wandered, gently guide it back. This process of bringing your attention back to your breathing, focusing on your breath, bringing it back, this is meditation. You are meditating. How wonderful. How incredible that you have the ability to meditate without any special circumstances. gently focus on your breathing in and out. The cool air coming in, the warm air coming out. Okay, and when you're ready, you can relax your concentration and open your eyes. How'd that go? It's not that easy. We're just not used to focusing on one thing. Like so much of this is familiarity. So much of everything is familiarity. Yeah, Andrew, totally. I mean, like it's hard. It's hard to stay focused on your breath. But it's all about familiarity for us. We have this kind of philosophy that like multitasking is really important, blah, blah. But like I said, you can't have your mind in two places. So really what you're doing is you're just purposely distracting yourself from everything you're working on. But we really train hard in multitasking. And yeah, it has its purpose, to get worldly tasks done. But it's not really great for relaxing and calming ourselves. So we have to train. We have to practice this technique, practice focusing on our breathing. This isn't the type of thing that you're going to do once and be like, cool, I'm done. I feel great. It's more like growing a garden. Like you're going to need to nurture it a little bit. You can't just plant the seed and be like, all right, cool. You're gonna have to water it and tend to it. You're gonna have to nurture this technique a little bit, but it will get easier every time. It'll get easier. Maybe you could only focus on your breath for one second. I don't know, this time. Maybe tomorrow will be 2 seconds, and maybe a week from now will be 10 seconds. Yeah. Just progress. That's what we're looking for. Just to slowly clear away those raindrops, right? So before we did our breathing meditation, I mentioned that I'm going to talk a little bit more about meditation in general, and the kind of like true like potential of what meditation can do. Meditation's true potential really lies in investigation, as an investigation tool for us. So let's go back to the lake analogy. If we do our breathing meditation and clear away our distracted thoughts, we remove some of the raindrops, we can see the reflection more clearly, right? We can describe what's going on more easily, right? And the same is true for our mind. When we are calmer, more calm, we can analyze things that are bothering us, that like where's our anger come from? Why am I getting angry when this person says this? There's amazing anything that's going on in your life. You have the ability to investigate it. The problem is that normally we're like not in a good state to investigate these things with like an objectively, right? Um, and so this is really the true power of meditation, to relax our mind and then use that mind purposefully to investigate things that we want to understand about ourselves, about our mind. It's and look, if you just did breathing meditation, your whole life would be better, right? Like you would be able to be more relaxed, which is very like pretty much all we want. But without the investigation part, which is called contemplation, it's sort of like boiling water and not putting anything in to cook, right? So we've done the hard work of calming our mind down, and now we really gotta go to the next step. Or I guess another, like, it's like taking Advil versus like curing the injury or something. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if that's any better. So when I teach, the first investigation that I like to do is recognizing that our mind is naturally very peaceful. Our default state is peacefulness, our mind. Chill, calm, cool, collected. It's just the bombardment of thoughts, of worries, that make our mind not that way. And when we remove those, like we're doing with breathing meditation, we see that we're more relaxed. Even if it's just a little bit, that is good. That is an indication that your mind has the capability of doing that. It's its natural state. And this is really important. This is a really important investigation. That's why I like to do it first, because I'm going to use yet another analogy. I don't know. I like analogies. I think most people do. It's helpful. Pretend there's like a lightning storm going on, thunder and lightning, and you're in your apartment looking out at it. We've all done this, okay? What do? We're like, oh my God, did you just see that? Whoa, it sounds like it's right over us. Like, these are the things we're saying about like a crazy, violent, scary storm. Like, bolts of electricity are shooting down and hitting the earth. And we're like, whoa, it's so cool, right? Now imagine that same lightning storm, but you're not in your home or apartment. You are out in an open field. Probably not going to have the same level of fascination with the lightning storm. It's probably going to be more fear, right? Panic. This is our whole day, right? Our worries, anxieties, loneliness, depression, sadness, anything, all of that, they are lightning storms. And we're always out in the field. And so when they happen, we panic. We just wish they would go away. We become even more upset that they're happening. We need to be able to get into our home, to look out at our problems like we're looking out at the lightning storm, with fascination instead of fear, right? And that safe place, that like place of refuge, that like safety, is your mind. You have it. You have everything you need. And we can see that when we're doing the breathing meditation. We can go to this place where we're more relaxed. And then from that place, we can look at our problems like we would the lightning storm, with fascination instead of fear. Right? We can analyze them and come to some really logical conclusions about how to improve our conditions, or understand why these things are happening. Right? So this is the potential of meditation, not just to relax, but to learn. So I want to do if it's cool with you. I want to do like just like a light contemplation on this, because I think it's a lot of the resources out there for meditation. Sometimes they just do breathing, and I think this is really important to see that like you can do both. And really, like a true meditation is doing the breathing meditation to relax, and then doing some sort of a contemplation. So I want to do like a lightweight one, if that's cool with you. Okay, so we're gonna do the eyes closed thing again. All right, so get back to your comfortable position, whatever that is, and let's relax a little bit, but be a little alert, and lay your hands on your lap or next to your side, just like we did before, and gently close your eyes. And we can go back to focusing on our breathing to the best of our ability. We can go back to focusing on how our breathing feels, moving in through our nostrils and moving out. Gently breathe in, gently breathe out. Very gentle. You don't have to be forceful about it. Just enjoy being here. Enjoy sitting here focusing on your breathing. And when your attention moves away, gently guide it back. Gently guide your attention back to focusing on your breath, to focusing on enjoying your full breath in and your full breath out. Keep bringing your attention back to your breathing as many times as necessary. You're meditating. How wonderful. Keep bringing your attention back to your breath, to the sensations of breathing in and breathing out. And after focusing on our breathing in this way, we might find that we're feeling a bit more relaxed, a bit more peaceful, even if it's only just a little bit. Whatever your experience is, when you notice it, go there. Stay with that feeling, that relaxed feeling, for as long as you can. This is your naturally peaceful mind, your default peaceful mind shining through, letting you know that it's there. Sit with that feeling for as long as you can. And if you ever lose track of that peaceful feeling, however large or small, you can always go back to focusing on your breath until it shows itself again. Our mind is like a messy room. When we clean our room or our home, we often find things that were obscured by the clutter. Our mind is the same way. When we remove our cluttered, distracting thoughts, we discover something amazing about the mind itself. We discover that our mind is naturally peaceful. Our mind's default state is peace. Meditation does not create peace. It merely reveals what has been there all along, waiting to be tapped into. How amazing is that? That you have the ability to calm yourself, to access your peaceful mind whenever you need to, without any special external factors being involved. Take a moment to think about that, to think how wonderful that is, that you have that ability. You can even repeat to yourself in your head, my mind is naturally peaceful. I am naturally peaceful. Just sit with that. Think about that for a little while. Okay, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes and relax your concentration. So that was an example of a guided meditation that includes the investigation portion, right? So we're relaxing our mind, and then we're kind of doing some reasoning with ourselves, identifying what we're finding. We're finding that when we relax our distracted thoughts, our mind's true state shows itself. And that means it's always there. That means it's always there, even when it doesn't feel like it is. It's there. And with time, you'll be able to access it easier and easier. It's just familiarity. Just familiarity. So hopefully you found that helpful. And I would say that maybe a challenge that I'll put forth to y'all for the next week is try to do a short breathing meditation 3 times during the week, right? Whenever is good for you, morning, afternoon, night. Keep it 5 minutes or less. Don't try to do anything too crazy. You don't have to do it for an hour. The idea is to just make it part of your routine and to become more familiar with doing it. So anyway, if you're interested in trying to get more proficient at it, that's where I would start. And like I said, I'm going to be doing this each week. And I also offer like private meditation, either in a group or one-on-one, where we can do meditation for any number of things that would be beneficial to you, helping with anxiety, helping with depression, helping with anger. So if that's interesting to you, you can check out some more about the classes that we offer on our website, meditationbreaks.com. And now I'll take a little time for Q&A. Not too long, because I know it's getting late, especially on the East Coast and other places in the world. But I'll answer a couple. So Joan, is the investigation tool, when you are more experienced, able to be used to contemplate a particular situation or person or feeling, etc.? Yeah, so you can do whatever you want. But the idea is that we're relaxing our mind and then actively choosing something that we want to meditate on, right? Like there's sometimes, and I do this a lot, I'll just be like, I'm just going to sit down and see what happens, right? But like really what we want to do is, when we get more experience, right now just worry about the breathing meditation, but when we get more experience with the contemplation and stuff, we want to basically choose something that we're going to meditate on at the onset, whether it be a person that's making us upset, and really what we're focusing on is like how this person is actually beneficial to us or something like that. These types of things, it's good to have a teacher, because we can kind of get lost in the mix of things that we're able to think on. The truth is that we can think about anything, but having a teacher is good to help guide you there. But yeah, the idea is to choose a meditation, whether it be how fortunate we are or where does my anger come from, and then we're actively going to focus on that thing. Any other questions? Maybe it's bedtime. Well, I really appreciate you guys coming here. Without you, I wouldn't be able to do this, and so I'm very fortunate to have you guys there to allow me to teach and to share some of the benefits of meditation that I've found. So thank you for joining me here today. So. Can you meditate on negative feelings? Is that bad? No, it's not bad. When we're starting, our goal is to be good at relaxing our mind, because our mind is not relaxed. And when our mind is not relaxed, we are not good at investigating anything at all. Have you ever noticed that you give better advice than you take? Well, that's because when you're giving advice, it's their problem, right? And so you're not panicked by it as much as if it was your problem. So you're able to look at things more objectively, right? So when we're starting, we want to get good at bringing ourselves into a state that we can look at things objectively. But yeah, then we can look at negative things. Like anger is a big one, right? We get angry like that. Right? We could be having the best day ever and somebody says something to us and boom, we're angry, right? And so we need to do meditation to investigate, where is that anger coming from? Why are we getting angry? Is this beneficial to me? Like those types of things. So yeah, like anger is a negative, I would say a negative feeling. Yeah, sometimes it can like motivate us to take action, but ultimately it's a bit upsetting. So we can meditate on negative feelings, but sometimes they make us really sad. You know, one interesting one is death. So a big meditation is meditating on death, which is quite negative when we think about it, right? We don't want to die, but it's important because meditating on death and the reality that we don't know how long we're going to be here helps motivate us to take action, helps motivate us to procrastinate less, helps motivate us to do things that are meaningful, because we don't have a guarantee of time. It's like that's something that we might think is negative, but like when we actually dig into it, it's really quite beneficial. What are some visuals, i.e. the lake, rainstorms, that you envision or are good to practice when meditating? So one is the sky. I really like that one. Basically we're imagining that our mind is this kind of vast, boundless sky, right? And our thoughts are clouds moving through, right? And so usually what we do is we're like, oh, there's a cloud, and we stick our head in the cloud. And then what happens when your head's in the cloud? You can't see the sky. All you see is the cloud. The one really visualization I love is the sky, because we can say, okay, there's a cloud, but I'm going to focus on the sky. I'm going to keep focusing on the sky and let the clouds pass through. I think that's a really good analogy for basically what we're doing when we're focusing on the breath. Is the breath is our sky, and then our thoughts are the clouds. And when we notice we're focusing on the clouds, we go back to the sky. So that, I think that's a really helpful one. I've some other ones that are good are, I really like the lake one. I don't know. It's just, I like hiking and stuff, so I use that one a lot. But I would do the sky one. I feel like that's really a really good analogy for how we're supposed to be, because our mind is like an open sky. It is quite boundless, and the potential is like boundless. But we're focusing on the clouds. So just keep focusing on the sky. I think that's helpful. Can I explain the lightning house analogy again? Yeah. So if you are in, if there's a thunderstorm outside, right? And you're inside, we can look out at the thunderstorm, and we'll say things like, whoa, that's really cool. We're like, wow, it sounds like it's right over us, but we're not panicked, right? We're almost fascinated with the lightning storm. It's like this amazing thing, right? We don't feel threatened by it because we are in a safe place, right? We feel safe, right? But if we were not in our apartment or home, we would not feel safe. And so our reaction to the lightning storm would not be one of fascination. It would be one of panic. We'd be like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. I assume that's what we'd be like. Oh, maybe you're totally chill and you'd still be focusing on how cool it is. But all of our problems that we encounter throughout the day, they're like these lightning storms. We don't have control over them. They're going to pop up, right? But if we're out in the field as opposed to in our apartment, then the problems are going to make us panic. If we're not in a peaceful place as opposed to being in a peaceful place where we feel safe, we're going to panic. We want to find a place that we can go to when problems are happening, ideally just kind of all the time, but at first, like, be able to access that safe place to then look out at our problems with the same level of fascination that we would be looking out at the lightning storm. Does that make sense? Basically, the analogy is to show us that when we feel safe, we look at our problems more objectively. But we never feel safe because we're always panicking when these things happen. So by doing the recognition of our peaceful mind state, recognizing that we can access that, that's our place that we can go when we get good to be in a place where we're going to look at things more objectively. That's the idea anyway. Yeah. Sand dunes with tiny rocks for me. That's a good one. I've never been to any place with sand dunes, so I'd have to experience that one myself. So is it best to have a guide to help you not ruminate? Yeah. I mean, look, you don't need anything special. Like, you don't need a teacher. You have everything you need. But just like learning anything, it's good to have somebody help you. So having a meditation teacher is really, really good for pinpointing and leading you in the right direction. And then eventually, you'll kind of get the hang of it and you can start to do things more on your own. But in terms of breathing meditation and stuff like that, you don't need to always be with a teacher. Like, you can do it on your own. That's the beauty of it. You don't need anything special. But when we're learning, it's like anything else. We need somebody to tell us these things, to show us these things, because a lot of times we haven't been shown them. Oh, thank you. That's very sweet. Yeah. So like I said, thank you guys for coming by. I'll let you all go. And we're going to be doing this hopefully every week. So pop on by, and if you have any other questions at all, you can always email me. And I'd be happy to help you out. My email's on the website on meditation breaks. So thank you guys, and have a great night and a great week, and good luck meditating 3 times during the week. Okay? See you guys.